See if I screw it up again. So, yeah. Apparently I'm Nicholas Clark, and I work for Geizhals, which is an Austrian-based price comparison site trading in Austria and Germany as Geizhals, in Poland as Senowacka, which I'm going to pronounce wrongly, and in the UK as Skinflint. And this is a talk about images, and specifically how we removed ImageMagick from our code paths. And let's see if I can keep to time. Yeah, previous times I've done the talk, it's ended up that we've been hiring. I'm sorry to say that this week we're not. So this is the Geizhals homepage. And were we hiring, although it's mostly editorial jobs, the advert would be here. Oh, I've been told that for the purpose of screen capture, I should wave a mouse pointer around. It's about there, above this image, which is some or other sponsor image, and so on. But that's not really the images I want to talk about. What I'm talking about here are product images, which we've got some of on this page. We've got thumbnails of products, so that's a thumbnail of a pair of headphones, a larger thumbnail, and those are small product thumbnails. So this makes a lot more sense when you go to our product page. We're talking product images, so here's a product. And let me check. Yeah, so this is a product page, this is a big image of a product, and then we are processing these to generate smaller product images such as those. And with the product page redesign, I can't have a good way to get a big and small of the same product on the same page. So we were using ImageMagick for this. Okay, a digression. Oh, my screensaver. About the robustness principle. I don't see that. It's robust. I'm sorry, I can't do anything about that. Please ignore it. Robustness principle, sometimes known as Postel's law: be conservative in what you do, be liberal in what you accept from others. And this dates back to the early internet. For example, it was how TCP was designed to work. Now, the trouble is, back then the internet was a much, much safer place. And if you asked your search engine for pictures of rabbits, Veronica would direct your Gopher clients to this. Sorry, American Fuzzy Lop, you could get that, rabbits. That was the joke. You can figure it out later. It comes up. So what about ImageMagick? Well, ImageMagick is not quite as old as the internet or animated GIFs or things like that. What's the other one? But it's nearly as old as all of that lot on TCP. And it unfortunately also kind of takes this robustness principle: be liberal in what you accept. It reads and writes over 200 formats of images, it says. You know, at work, we care about 3. PNG, GIF, JPEG. Okay? You see, our problem is that it cares deeply about the other 197 or so. And it, tries to be liberal. Now, the problem is, it will try and do the right thing when presented with an image. It cares deeply about these other 197, and you can't even disable support for all of the rest of them. And it tries to do the right thing when presented with an image. And even if you kind of firewall it by putting something in front that says, okay, these things are not JPEGs, PNGs, or GIFs, just do that. You get it to ImageMagick, and I don't trust it. There's effectively a black box router of, well, you thought it was JPEG, but my internal logic is pretty sure that this format is actually RLE, and, oh, it's actually a corrupt RLE. Okay, now it'd be great if it ended there, because, you know, can't get a thumbnail from a corrupt RLE is about as useful as can't get a thumbnail from a JPEG. No image. Cool. That would be fine. But then we get to the second problem of this, another kind of digression that becomes relevant. This thing, the meme of internet speed. I hope about 5 minutes in? Yeah, cool. It's a meme from the first .com bubble that your company must run at internet speed. And if you don't run at internet speed, your competitors will outpace you. And of course, what it actually meant was that 2 years later, you ran out of money faster because you'd just been burning it more quickly. It was all tosh. The laws of reality still apply. Trouble is, it's kind of been made real now, but in a much, much nastier way. It's becoming ever harder. You have to run ever harder to stand still, but in this case, against vulnerabilities. The advent of particularly fuzzing tools such as American Fuzzy Lop, that was the rabbit I showed, mean that it's becoming easier and easier to find bugs in C code, or any code, but in this case C. So in 2016, ImageMagick had 88 CVEs reported. In 2017, by I think CVE report something, they count 225. Yay! And most of these are in obscure formats you don't care for, but you can't disable them, so yay. And as the register put it, yeah, headline, they stopped using ImageMagick. Now, they weren't using it directly, exposing it to the public in any way. What they were doing was using it internally as making thumbnails on mail messages to show in web pages to you. And some security researcher demonstrated if you put in a correctly corrupted JPEG into a mail, this would then run code on their servers and pull out other things from the memory and send it back in the... Now, we're not doing exactly that, but we're doing something pretty similar at work. Our editorial team are, with permission from manufacturers, downloading product images from their sites and feeding it into our pipeline where we make thumbnails. Say some nasty person decides they want to take out, we'll see who we can go for, hacks the manufacturer site, puts on carefully corrupted files, we download it, run code. We've been pawned. That wouldn't be good. And so this wasn't looking good for ImageMagick. The final part that was going on is that we have been gradually, we're nearly finished this, migrating our internal systems from lots of special snowflakes, machines running all sorts of versions of Debian, some of which I shouldn't, no, they don't exist. They're nearly gone. They're all internal. So we're trying to go over to building our own Perl, and Perl Magic, the API bindings are a right pain to build with your own Perl. So we came to the decision that we would really rather remove ImageMagick than try and work around it. So what alternatives might we have? Well, what are we trying to do? Basically, the things we are doing are we are taking images, we are resizing them, we are running sharpening on the thumbnails, and in places for other stuff we are doing, we are reading comments from images, and we have internal editing tools to write comments back, and we care about these three formats. So we need something that meets these requirements. There are plenty of modules on cPan. What should we go for? Well, the obvious choice is Imager. It's built, again, on libjpeg, libping, and libgiflib, which are the same 3 C libraries that ImageMagick is using, so that's not a problem. So, okay, what are we doing it with? Actually, I admit some of our code was shelling out to the ImageMagick command line. So, to make thumbnails, we were doing this, running the convert command with sharpen 3, background white, flatten, tum-tum-tum-tum. How do I translate that into Imager? So, okay, I'll start reading the fine manuals. So the first one is sharpen. Well, there it takes one parameter, the number 3. It looks like it's going to map to Imager filters unsharp mask, which takes 2 parameters. Oh dear, what am I... After some experimentation, it looks pretty much like the dev is the one that is 3, and we left scale on the default as 1, and we seem to get the same stuff. So that's cool, we could do the sharpen thing. What about flatten? What did flatten mean? Well, effectively, it's taking any transparent image and forcing the background to white. So, the code example is that is what flatten roughly translates into. Take your original image, make a new image of the same size. If it's grayscale, make damn sure you're going to have grayscale output. Otherwise, make a color image because the size matters. Then take that new image, make the whole of the background white, and then run another thing called rub through on it, taking the original image. I don't know what it's blah. So one little command, flatten on background white, turns into all of that, and it's kind of like Luke asking Yoda about the dark side. I mean, is ImageMagick more powerful? And no, it's just quicker, easier, and more seductive. Yay! Sorry, my brain is trying to remember which mouse is driving it. So anyway, what we do now is that's cool. We can do all the resizing. What happens with comments? So I do need to tell you about the specs on comments. GIF, yeah. This block set of comments is intended for humans. It should contain text using the 7-bit ASCII character set. Position. This block may appear at any point in the data stream at which extent possible. Well, the first one is, but Unicode UTF-8 dates from 1992, so it's kind of okay that GIF-87 and GIF-89 don't mention it. But yeah, that's going to be fun, Unicode. And the second one is relevant. So you can have image followed by comment, or comment then image. And we have enough GIFs that go both ways. This turns out to matter. PNGs. Yeah, I appreciate at the back you can't see it. There's nothing much I can do about that. I'm sorry, I shall read it. Keywords shall be spelled exactly as registered. Yep. Big C, comments for everyone watching at home. That. In particular, keyword comments are considered case sensitive. So yeah, some software, ImageMagick looking at you, writes for the lowercase. And it neatly says for the text and Z-text chunks, pink text are expected to use the Latin 1 character set. Cool, well specified. The I-text chunk provides support for international text presenting using the UTF-8 encoding of UCS. Also well specified. iText dates from, I think, 1999, says my note over here. Yeah, and JPEG, comment byte. The interpretation is left to the... oh! Which comes down to basically what we were going to do was use a heuristic. I think, oh sugar, I'm a bit slow. We're going to use a heuristic, which is basically, because these are supposed to be text, if it looks like it's well-formed, no, if it turns out to be well-formed UTF-8, treat it as such, otherwise assume it's Latin 1, and if they put something mangled, we're going to get emoji bait, which isn't the end of the world. Sounds like posits. Okay, says the guy in the -2 row. So what about image of files? Okay, GIF comment. The first block of the GIF comment for its image. That doesn't work for some of our GIFs, as I said. Text tags are retrieved from a written to ping text of dead text chunks. No mention of iText. Can't support that. iComment, keyword of comment. Yeah, so for these non-conformant pings with lowercase c, all of those end up in ping text n key and ping text n text. So it will give me it back, but I have to brute force on iterate over them. This is not looking good. Okay, right, what else is there? So I figured I had to evaluate stuff. And my corner, Unicode is not a corner case, but obviously I have to do that. Binary garbage, embedded pings, embedded null bytes, because some of the specs, all the ping explicitly disallows them. JPEG and GIF, because they do a length marker followed by text. You can put a null byte in the middle. Let's see how it copes. Lowercase ping comments, as I said, GIF comments anywhere in files, and 2 or more comments in a file. So I built a bunch of those, and they look something like this. So yeah, straight out ASCII with a null byte at the end. Let's see what happens. Latin 1, that's a pound sign. That's the Unicode encoding of a pound sign. That is what would start looking like a bomb marker, but actually has a octet. That's just designed to see if I can throw things. That's similar with actually is the pound sign at the end. That's a euro symbol. That's the pile of poo, of course, which is outside the base plane. So let's see what, well, MySQL wouldn't like that. Thing that ends in a null byte. Actually, that's got a new line in it to test embedded new lines. I got that wrong. A null in the middle, see what happens. And one I forgot for a while, which is just no comment. It wasn't actually in my test cases. So how do we fire at this? What else have we got that handles comments? So, well, there would seem to be 2 obvious modules. ImageExif tool, which reads and writes comments. That sounds a good start. Or ImageInfo, which can only read comments. Let's look at ImageExif tool first. And you look at it, and it says, this new requires 5.04 or later. And you think, oh, God, that's dinosaur era Perl. Oh, actually, technically, it's not, because it is with ham, which was 2 Debian versions later. Rex was 5003_07, and ham was that. And in Germany, it's like Angela Merkel wasn't chancellor because it's cold. Anyway, I realized, like here, it's like, gee, there was this Conservative Party minority government propped up by the Ulster Unionists, torn apart by Europe. It's that was 1997, 1998 is what we're talking about. But by the way, on that one, you notice the same thing now, but all the lead actors are female. All the women are running those parties now, not men. But yeah, it's just good old days. Gee, so we're dealing with code like that. And so I try it, and it says ImageExif tool. When reading known encodings are converted to the external character set according to that option, or TF-8 by default. And yes, it's really UTF-8 octet sequences because it has to deal with a Perl so old it can't deal with those sort of characters. For the Z text and I chunks, it uses ISO 8859-1. That sounds exactly like the spec says. Otherwise, iText UTF-8. And it converts all pings to the character set option. How is my timer?
15 minutes.
Ooh. Yeah, oh, sugar lumps. So this all seems good. I throw my text cases at it, and it doesn't quite work. And so you're saying Latin 1. Okay, I do want to. Anyway, yeah, like Latin goes to Latin, but CP1252 goes to Latin, and Latin 1 goes to Latin. Yeah, so this is why some of my text cases come back as Unicode characters in the wrong place, because you're thinking I mean Windows whatever, and oh god. And then worse, I found this horror mapping, which is slinging everything up there. That's sorry, the second bit. And you know the best bit? It only does this mapping on reading. It doesn't do the reverse on writing. God! No, that's not going to work. Oh, and by the way, it strips trailing nulls on JPEGs, but not GIFs, just because it somehow wanted to, but I don't know why. Oh, let's look at the other one. ImageInfo. Okay. That's great. Returns the raw text. No messing. I can figure this out. It returns both comment and comment, upper and lowercase. Cool, that's useful. Just to be different, it strips nulls on GIFs, but not JPEGs. Bother. Doesn't support iText. 5, he says. Patches were welcomed. Yes, I wrote about 2 hours, sent the patch to Slav, and he took it. Cool, we fixed that bug, my deficiency. And this is pretty much our reading code. This is work code copied from work. If there's more than one comment, do a bunch of stuff where we log and do something arbitrary, which is pick the last one. Otherwise, if it's a ping, yeah, just treat it. Otherwise, run the trust what the character set is. Otherwise, heuristic of, as I said, is it UTF-8 or not? If it's valid UTF-8, treat it as Unicode coded with characters. Right, that was what we did. That read everything reliably and dealt with all my test cases, which gets me on to about 4 minutes to do about writing, which means I'm a little tight but not terrible. We tried doing writing with ImageExif tool and it didn't work, and I started reading the code. And like, if it's universal glob this, otherwise it's this entitled logic, or what is this? Oh, let's make that clearer. Oh yeah. If the version is more than that and I run this eval block and encode UTF-8 is this, or there's an returns truth, or there is an error, then enter this block. And if there was an if there was an error, do this, otherwise do that. And I know what that means and I don't want to know about it. Oh God, and you read the documentation, man encode. Internal! Test whether the UTF-8 flag is on the string. If check is true, also check whether the string contains well-formed UTF-8. Returns true. Just don't go there. And to hack around that, basically just make sure that ensure is UTF-8. Ensure that this always returns false. You'll never enter here. Cool, I think. If I do that in my caller, it won't ever enter that block. Now, at this point, it still doesn't work. Oh, what's going wrong? Well, there's this little beauty. If the option char set is Latin 1 and we see something that's outside the range of that, we set iText. Then iText calls encode. And how is encode implemented? Oh God. Look. Prototypes on methods, that's just dating this in style-wise. And encode is a special case of dgot. Oh, it's like, and again, I'm losing more hair still. And we get to I realize eventually that we enter this hell down here if from is not equal to 2. Now, if I make $from and $2 be the same, it never does anything. So this one out the caller is hard-coded as the string UTF-8. So, all the way in is coming as UTF-8 here. I just have to make char set UTF-8, and then it won't do this piece of messing for me. So I think penultimate slide, our writing code from work ended up pretty much like this. And also I found reading through 9 months ago, found this bug. If you can take the string of characters and it's entirely in the Latin 1 range, make damn sure it's encoded internally as octet sequences and UTF-8 internal flag is off, set the character set to Latin 1, and EXIF tool won't think it needs to do anything. And note, by the way, if you don't do that, it can produce an iText segment that contains non-UTF-8, so it can write non-conformant pings by trying to be helpful. Otherwise, do the encoding yourself into UTF-8, tell it that the thing is UTF-8, which hacks past all those other tests. Oh, and that has the side effect here, again, of the internal sequences marked as octets with the UTF-8 flag off. And basically, we do this to handle all the encoding ourselves, and we hack the char set options to stop it being helpful. And this worked. And then I was happy. And if we could have it 1 minute, that's kind of cool, because that's the last slide. So at the end of the little war story, we ended up using Imager for our manipulation, and also we as an optimization, used ASCII-only comments in JPEGs, because those are the one things it can do reliably. Pretty much if you see anything outside ASCII, you then fall through to the rest of the code. Image info to read the comments, because it's brilliant at that. An ImageExif tool to write the comments once we've angled around it, because it can do that really well. And Max says I have 1 minute. There is a bonus slide. I probably should ask if anyone has questions, and lunch will be when you stop asking questions.
Just give us the bonus.
The bonus was that, oh God, ImageMagick documentation. So you've got this thing, strips all image of a profile comment. Okay. That's the internal documentation for the API. The command line option convert strips the image of any profiles, comments, or these pung chunks. Okay. Which one are you going to believe? Because we did want to strip stuff, but if you take out the gamma correction stuff, things look wrong, and there's like rotation information, which apparently holds. Oh God. Actually, EXIF tool had this something useful to say that you take out, with this code, to take out everything and leave the EXIF tags in, to keep the EXIF data in. Yes, removes the color profile data and makes the images dull, it says, which basically means taking the gamma correction away. But this was my frustration with the ImageMagick documentation mostly. When I did this in German Pole Workshop, someone said that you can force ImageMagick to take a particular file type by using a colon prefix, and it's just not documented anywhere apart from convert. And I'm still not confident about what order it does it. The documentation seems to say it does it when it fails to figure it out for itself. And of course, my fear is that you write me one that's well-formed in the wrong. And in the end, I have looked at the ImageMagick source. It is beautiful, but impossible to follow. And apparently I need to stop or the Muppet gets it, so I believe it's lunchtime. Thank you.